Good morning. If you are feeling a little bit stuck in your career, not sure what you're doing with your life, work isn't feeling in the way that you thought that it would when you reach this position, stick around because I've got some tips for you. My name is Emma, my business is Be Unstoppable, and every day this week, it's currently the Wednesday the 11th of February, depending on when you're watching this, I'm coming on live to share my tips, thoughts, advice based on 5 years of self-employment, 5 years of helping create Humans Resource, which is all about helping you to have your biggest impact sustainably. And today I am talking a little bit about motivation, because it's fair to say that prior to self-employment, I was not particularly intentional in my career. I say that, I suppose there was intent in the way that I wanted my career to be. I think, like most people, kind of thought I would just work my way up, right? So my intent in my career was to get the promotion, keep getting experience, move up through the hierarchy, manage a team. And then I had these dreams of at some point I would be a consultant. I'd be so experienced and so knowledgeable that I could just go into organisations, swoop in, save everything, and then fly off again and not have to worry about all the stuff that goes with being in-house. So I guess I was intentional, but it was driven by, I suppose, a belief that that's how it should be, that you progress in your career, you move up through hierarchy, you gain experience and you get promoted. So it wasn't intentional in so much as I didn't understand what it meant for me. So I didn't understand what I wanted my career to feel like. I just knew I wanted to progress and I wanted to, like I say, keep moving up through the ranks. That was the extent of my intentionality when it came to my career. Got to a point where I thought I was in the dream role that I'd always wanted, which was managing a team. So I was like, wow, I've hit this point. I'm managing a team now. This is brilliant. A piece of fluff. I've done it. I've reached the pinnacle of everything. This is great. Now that role turned out to be the worst experience of my career. I was bullied in that role, and it had a really big impact on my health, on me, full stop. Really, really bad role. And so I suppose at that point, I did start thinking, well, maybe then this moving up through the ranks isn't really what I want for myself. And that was the first shift of starting to think about, well, actually, I thought I should be doing this. Interesting, the word I used. I should be getting the promotion. I should be managing a team by a certain point. I should be earning a certain salary by this point in my career or whatever. That was the first time where I thought, well, that actually doesn't really suit me. So when it comes to intentionality in your career and in your work, I think for most of us, or for a lot of us, until we actually start to sit down and think, well, what part of my life do I want my work to be? How do I want my work to contribute to the life that I'm leading? We can get kind of caught up on job title, on status, on a perceived route for us that we always thought that we would take within our career. And that's not necessarily who we grow into being. The dream that we had for our career back when we started isn't necessarily the person that we end up being. Those two things don't necessarily align. So that is symptomatic, what is symptomatic of you reaching that point is potentially if you're feeling a bit meh about your career, it's not feeling like how you want it to, then it could be that the role that you're in or the way that you're working isn't actually aligned with the person you are now. Because it's not realistic for you to think that you're the same person as you were when you started out your career. You've got a whole heap of experiences that you've built on. And I reached that point prior to self-employment, and I realised that I was tired of mopping up the messes created by other people, which is where I'd got to in my career in HR. That's how it felt to me. It felt like I was limited to mopping up the messes created by other people. And I was like, there must be more for me than that. There must be more for me than that. And that's what set me off on my journey to where I am now. And now I can very clearly tell you what I'm driven by. Two external things. One is that I believe to my core that no one should go home worse from work than when they arrived. First thing. drives me to do the work that I do. And secondly is I'm mum to an 8-year-old girl, and I don't want her to have to enter the workplace and ultimately get sick or feel that she has to change to conform. So I don't want her to get sick from the effort of having to conform. So for me, that means I need her to be going into work, seeing really strong female role models in positions of leadership and authentically leading in a way that is aligned for them, so that she can see, well, I can be the kind of leader that I want to be. I don't have to fit myself into the norms that exist. They're the two things that drive me, and they're the things that they're like my North Star. They're the things that guide me. And the thing about this is those two things aren't particularly defined. They're not, I have to have a certain salary, I have to be doing this type of work, whatever. But they are things that they're pulling me towards something. That kind of motivation, when you're being pulled towards something, is more likely to be sustainable. It is more likely to gives you direction, but it means you can have flexibility. It means you can go wherever the work takes you, because you're still ultimately moving towards those things. There's another type of motivation, which is away from motivation, which is essentially, I just don't want to be where I am anymore. And I reached that point. When that was the kind of motivation I had when I first started my business. I don't want to my mess is created by other people anymore. That became my motivation to actually help me make the move. But the thing that sustains me is this towards motivation. I'm moving towards a vision of the future that I have, when no one goes home from work worse than when they arrive, and my daughter gets to grow up and to operate within the workplace without having to shrink herself, without having to conform. They're the two things pulling me forward. And that means that I can keep those two things consistent, but I can go over here, I can go over here. I'm still moving towards something. I'm not just like moving away. So those two things are very much external to me. They're the things guiding me forward. And I will be honest with you, and I will let you know that some of those remnants of who I think I should be have been very visible and very present. So I thought that it was a measure of success, for example, if I hit the VAT threshold in my business. I thought that it was a measure of success if I kept running my annual event. I got myself caught up into the shoulds. And those two things, again, didn't work out for me. The VAT threshold was an absolute pain. I hit it right at the point where I'd gone the biggest I'd ever gone on my event, and I hadn't accommodated hitting the VAT threshold in my ticket pricing, which meant the financial pressure for me was immense. That event was so stressful. And that's what's contributed. One of the things that's contributed to me to starting to pause the event was because I had such a stressful time of hitting the success measure that I'd held in my mind for such a long time, because it wasn't a relevant success measure. I'm still learning. This is so frustrating. Why can't I just learn it and then I'm done? No, you keep learning. You keep making mistakes. So that's helped me reflect on, well, what is important to me personally? Because I think there's the outward expression of our work in the world, which is no one going home worse from work and authentic female leadership for my daughter. Those two things are external to me. The third thing that I'm coming to, like literally in the last year, is what part of my life do I allow my work to be? Now, actually, what's important to me is that I get to go on family trips, that we get to do theatre trips, that I can go on holiday and not worry about it, and that I have the financial freedom to travel, to go and have experiences. That is the contribution that I want my work to make for me, for my life that is bigger than the work that I do. So how does this all help you if you're stuck in your career? The first thing is work out why you're doing it, why you're going to work. And if there are any kind of shoulds, I should be in this position, I should be earning this salary, what will people think of me? Then there's the potential that motivation isn't aligned to who you are, and that it's worth you giving some reflection to what part of my life, why is it that I'm doing this thing? Is this work meaningful to me? Any kind of shoulds, scrap those. And the second thing is to think, well, what do I want my life? What do I want my work to contribute to my life? Because your life is bigger than your work. That's the other thing that I strongly believe as well, is that our life should be more than just the work that we do. So to help you with that, I am opening up access again to my New Year Reset challenge, which ran at the beginning of the year. But it's a chance for you to reflect on where are you giving your attention to? Where do you really want your attention to be? What is it that you want for your career in this year? And how can you move yourself towards that? So I'm back again tomorrow, 10 o'clock, talking my fourth tip. But today it's all really around motivation. What is it that you are moving towards, rather than what the things that you're trying to just escape? Anything that you can have that will move you towards something that is really meaningful and purposeful to you will be much easier to sustain in the long term. So let me know if this has been useful. Share with me your comments, and I will see you again tomorrow.